morning, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural OLC Live, coming to you from OLC Innovate 2018 in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, the Music City, capital of the world. So I'm Kelvin Thompson from here at OLC Live HQ, and we're trying things a little bit experimentally this year with OLC Live, bringing a taste of the on-site experience to the world. Certainly for our registered virtual participants, but open to everybody. How cool is that, right? So whether you're coming from Czechoslovakia, Jacksonville, Florida, San Diego, California, Azerbaijan, wherever, we're right here talking to you right now. So the idea is to give you a little taste of what's happening on site. We'll give you some local color, a little field reporting from our lovely Opryland Hotel venue, interact in hallway conversations with folks throughout the 3 days of the conference. We're going to have guests popping into our little OLC HQ room here, and folks who are doing sessions at the conference, they'll give you a little synopsis of what they've been talking about. We'll have open discussions. This is not just a one-way kind of a thing. You'll be able to talk with us and with our guests and give a little life to the virtual experience, right? We don't want a dead experience, we want a live virtual experience. Now, if you are a registered virtual participant in OLC Innovate, then of course you're going to be popping in and out of those webcast official session rooms, but you might want to take a break from that from time to time, so pop back over here. So from time to time, we'll throw out some quick URLs for you that are going to be relevant, and we'll throw those in the chat room in a few minutes as well. Any of you, if you're a registered virtual participant and you want to see what's up officially, you can go to the OLC Innovate Virtual Hub page, and you can get there by going to bit.ly, the URL shortening service, bit.ly/OLC Virtual Hub, lowercase, no spaces, and you'll see the complete list of official sessions, and you'll find a link. If you get lost, you'll find a link back to this big Zoom room. Thanks to our friends at Zoom for making this all happen for us. So I think of this as like the early days of radio or TV. You never know what's going to happen. You know, hopefully all the technology will be great, but you know, we might have dead air. You might just see a big blank backdrop for a little while. You might see a coming soon session on screen with some of the upcoming sessions that we've got planned, or you might be in the middle of a rich conversation when you pop in. Now, what's going to happen is, while we're doing this live, about on a one session delay, periodically we'll be grabbing these recordings and pushing those to the Online Learning Consortium YouTube channel. So if you missed a session and you think it might be kind of good, go over to that OLC YouTube channel and see our conversation with Roland Moe or Eric Fredrickson or any of our other special guests who are coming in. So we'll title those up. They'll be on about a one session delay. So an hour or so after we actually have a conversation, you'll be able to find that on the YouTube channel if all goes well. And you might make a note of that now. You can find the OLC YouTube channel using this short link, bit.ly, bit.ly/YouTube OLC, YOUTUBE OLC, lowercase, no spaces. So you might want to bookmark that now, check back periodically. There'll be other video content from OLC Innovate going on as well. Now, we want this to be an interactive experience. So those of you who are on right now, we want to get a little bit acquainted. You'll have a chance to talk with each other, with me, with whoever's sitting in these chairs up here. And the way that we've got that set up is we have you muted by default when you come in. And then if we've done everything right, on your computer, if you press the space bar, that's like a press to talk kind of a thing. So we might, and then if you let go of the space bar, you'll be muted again, right? So if you've got your video camera on, you got your microphone on, all goes well, we should be able to hear each other a little. So I'm gonna be quiet for a moment and let anyone who wishes to speak up, introduce themselves, and we'll see how our connection goes. Who'd like to speak up first? So press the space bar to talk, and we'd love to hear your dulcet tones introducing yourself. You don't have to introduce yourself. That's okay too. That's fine. You can just be in a listening mode. I've got to get back over to the chat window in a second. So if you are introducing yourself that way, that is totally fine. And you might not be in a situation where you've got a working microphone, and that's okay too. We'll try to troubleshoot that along the way. Let me make a note of a couple of things that we've got planned for you. So we have periodic interviews where we have folks coming in, and we'll do more of a traditional interview kind of a setup, and then we'll have a chance for Q&A with whoever is online at that time. We'll also have hopefully some open discussions where we have some special guests here, but we're all kind of having a conversation around a topic. And then we're going to do some field experiences, like I mentioned. We've got scheduled in a little while, in about an hour and a half, we're going to have a on-site tour of the Innovation Lab here at Innovate 2018. And so our roving correspondent, Dave Goodrich from Michigan State University, will be out in the field showing us a tour of the Innovation Lab, maybe interacting a little bit, talking to folks who are wandering around physically. And you'll be able to ask questions as well when we cut back here. It's going to be a little bit limited in terms of your ability to ask Dave questions out in the field, but you can certainly get a sense of what it's like in the Innovation Lab. And then when we're back here at OLC Live HQ, you can interact with us a little bit more easily, I think. We will also have later in the day a tour of Rollin Moe's innovation installation. I think this is the third or fourth year that we've had that installation going on. Just really a walk-through experience of what is innovation, and it's a real thought-provoking experience. And so we'll have a bit of a virtual tour and a conversation with Rollin as well. Okay, if I forgot this really important URL that you should all make note of. If you find this valuable at all and you think you might want to pop in and out over the next 3 days from now until Friday, if you get lost, you need to find your way back here, right here to this Zoom room where we're all going to be meeting. Here's the direct URL, bit.ly/OLC live room. OLC live room, all lowercase, no spaces, bit.ly/OLC live room. Should just be able to go right into Zoom, doing any of the requisite, hey, open with the URL launcher, any of that stuff that you're prompted to do, connect your audio, your video, whatever, and then you'll be right in the room with us. If at any point you've got any problems, questions, put those in the chat. I've got to get over to them and look at them at some point. And we'll try to resolve those as quickly as we can. All right. I'm going to pause again for a moment and hope that maybe some brave soul might be willing to speak up yourself and let us know kind of who you are and what interested you in checking out this experimental connection point this morning. And I'll look. Okay, you guys are awfully shy. I've responded to a couple of things in the chat room from some of you. Don't forget, press the space bar to talk at any point. You can interrupt me if you wish.
Good morning, Paul. Hey, this is Jim Gepperth from Lakewood College.
Awesome, Jim.
Coming to you from beautiful Northeast Ohio.
Northeast Ohio.
Cleveland area.
Gotcha.
Cleveland
rocks, I hear.
Say that again?
Cleveland rocks, I hear.
Of course we do. That's right. I was just looking at my Twitter feed here in the office as I was getting going, and I saw your post with a link to this room. So I'm not familiar with the consortium that you are, holding and what your goals are for it, but I do follow the Topcast podcast. And in fact, by pure coincidence, I was listening to the episode that you had regarding women in higher ed, in online higher ed, that you did a couple of years ago, I think, as I was driving into the school here. So it's by complete happenstance that I'm chatting with you now. But yeah, if you could, you probably already did the overview of what you hope to accomplish, but if you could give the 2-minute version of that would be cool.
Jim, that's completely awesome. Thank you, one, for being the very first non-on-site, speaking live to us, voice of the world here in this session. Thank you. Brave soul that you are. No, that's great. We can, I mentioned just broadly that what we're trying to do in OLC Live in this kind of this experimental prototype kind of space is kind of in the spirit of old time live radio, live TV, give a sense of place and tone and just a taste of the experience that we have on site here at the conference to our registered virtual participants. Then we've opened it up to everybody as well. So we're going to have special guests popping in who are conference presenters or leaders in our field. We'll have conversations going on here. Who knows what you're going to see? We might have some dead air. You might just see this screen. You might just see a listing on screen of upcoming sessions that we've planned, but there's nothing right now, and that's, you can just talk amongst yourselves, whatever you'd like to do. But the Online Learning Consortium is one of the leading, if not the leading, association in the field of online education. You can go to the Online Learning Consortium website, which I'm pretty sure you do onlinelearningconsortium.com or olc.net. I need to check out the URL. You think I would know this stuff by memory, but if you Google it, you'll find Online Learning Consortium.
Yeah.
This is the Innovate Conference. There's two major conferences each year: the Accelerate Conference, which is in the fall, the Innovate Conference, which is in the spring. Accelerate is a bigger conference and is more broad brushstrokes, big umbrella, online education, digital learning kind of conference, international in scope. Innovate, a little bit more lean, edgy, try new things. What's innovation in this space look like?
Gotcha. That's funny because we had a strategic plan review meeting this past Saturday morning here at the school. And that topic came up. What does innovation look like in our space? In fact, it's part of our strategic plan going forward.
Very timely.
It's a perfect topic.
Yeah,
that's
now. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, some really creative folks organizing the conference in general here. And then we've got a great team here with our little OLC Live subgroup where we've trying to tap into some of the gist or gists themes from the conference. So there's going to be a lot of folks popping in. You mentioned Topcast. Thank you for that kind shout out.
Yes, and by the way, I have my coffee.
Awesome. What are you drinking this morning?
It's just a very simple instant coffee that I make real quick in the morning just to get out of the house. But we do have we have some nicer stuff here at the office that I sometimes will bring.
That's nice. If you're listening and you don't know, Jim mentioned Topcast, the teaching online podcast that I co-host with my UCF colleague, Dr. Tom Cavanaugh, on a monthly basis. And we have collegial conversations about digital learning with coffee.
Exactly.
We're kind of coffee snobs, and so we have a thematic coffee of the month. So we're always talking coffee. So Jim, you'll note I've talked about doing this for years. This is a hotel coffee cup, but it does not have hotel coffee in it. I brought whole beans, a small grinder, a Melita cone, and some filters, heated up some water in the hotel room coffee maker, and made my own pour over this morning with my own specialty beans.
Yes, you are indeed a rebel, an innovator.
Or perhaps just a coffee snob.
You know, I do receive, if I'm not wrong, the Online Learning Consortium has a newsletter, does it not?
That's right.
So I subscribe to that. I check it out occasionally when it comes into my mailbox.
Yep.
I'm sure, like you, there's 101 things to look at every day. But I really appreciate the work that you and other groups do along these lines, because I think sometimes people who are in higher ed and the online space, sometimes we can feel isolated and alone in endeavor, ironically.
Yeah.
If you think about the reach that we have, the scope that we have, it's important to know there are other people out there doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing and innovate. That's probably true across all of higher ed, that you tend to get focused and siloed in on what you're doing at the moment. But it's good to chat with other people in the space, in the field. We are a completely 100% online. I guess you could consider us a career school. We offer vocational programs and a couple of associate degrees. And we have been doing this type of work for really about 18 years. So we were tinkering with online just at the very get-go of what that meant. And it was rather clunky early on, but technology is such now that it's getting easier in some respects to do it, although there are challenges. So I tell my colleagues here, and then I'll let you go on. We work in three spaces that overlap. We're a school, so we are indeed educators. Our forum through which we serve students is online and digital technology. So we are essentially also a tech company. So we have to think of ourselves as tech workers. And that's a weird paradigm if you think about it. And then also, because we either curate or create media, we are also in the media field. And where those three overlap, that's our special place. That's our innovation. So I think that's unique in education, and it's still very unique, that notion that, we're all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to check out more what you're doing there at OLC Innovate. I'll go to these websites that you mentioned. So yeah, I'll keep this window on my computer and jump in and out.
That's awesome, Jim. That's so great. I really appreciate your comments. I think it sounds like you're doing great work at Lakewood College, and glad to put a face to the Lakewood College name that I've seen show up sometimes in our Topcast Twitter feed, and I think maybe in our insider newsletter and so forth as well. And so that's awesome. And I think you've made good comments about the nature of your work in our broader field. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's always great to put a face to a name, and I think that's the benefit of this experiment that you're doing now, if nothing else, creating community online. That's a challenge unto itself.
It's true, right? And we all need to be experimenting with that as online education professionals. We need to be dabbling in different kinds of experiments. My colleagues and friends, John Ernstberger and Melissa Venable, a couple of years ago, ran their own pseudo podcast using, oh gosh, what is the Periscope, the little video app, communication app.
That's connected to Twitter, right?
Yeah. And so they ran their own little podcast using Periscope as a platform for, maybe the better part of a year, a couple of years ago, and then I think they decided to step away from it. But it was great. Okay, they're just looking to test the boundaries of the technology and the affordances and what works and what doesn't work, and we all need to be dabbling in those spaces so that we can then figure out how to apply those practices and those technologies in our more formal learning environments and our informal learning environments.
I mean, I can share with you real quick. I taught in face-to-face brick and mortar context some years ago, and then I've been doing this for a number of years. And that transition was one of the things I learned is the community building that happens at a brick and mortar campus environment. A lot of that happens incidentally, even outside the classroom, at the cafeteria, the coffee shop, the parking lot, the football games, the bookstore, all of that. You could run into friends and colleagues and professors anywhere. That really doesn't happen online unless we purposefully design space for that to happen, like this right here. So I almost feel that our quick morning conversation, it's as if I ran into you in our kitchen here at the office and we stopped to have a little chat over coffee. Yeah. That doesn't happen online unless we specifically design it to happen, unlike the brick and mortar environment. And so I'm all about, when I chat with our faculty and others, how do we create and nurture community online so that our students feel that they are part of the community when they attend our school and take our courses. And that's
that is well said, Jim. That is awesome. And yes, that is exactly the kind of experiment we're trying to do here with OLC Live during OLC Innovate 2018, is to give a sense of those, as you put it, incidental experiences, the interstitial spaces, the hallway interactions, the vibe, the let me just ask you,
exactly.
Kind of in the moment kind of experiences. And I think you're right. We need to be dabbling with this so that we can get facile with what does it take to make those kinds of experiences happen online in a way that supports our online education community, our students, our faculty, instructional designers, administrators.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you talk with proud graduates of any school, they talk a lot about the community that they were a part of, the relationships they created. And then, of course, they talk about their program and the courses and professors. But we don't want to lose out on that value, that asset of community. We want to be able to offer community just like a brick and mortar campus would. So I will let you go on to chat with other people. And I appreciate your time and what you're trying to do.
That's awesome.
I will continue to listen religiously to Topcast. By the way, this may sound weird, but I listen to the podcast in the morning as I shave and have my coffee.
That's awesome. How do you keep the shaving cream out of your coffee?
Well, no, the coffee is in another room. It's in the.
Oh, okay. Not at the same time.
Not literally at the same time, but it's your podcast is part of my morning routine.
Oh, that is so touching. That's so nice to hear. He'll appreciate that. And we've been listening and talking with Jim from Lakewood College, and Jim's a Topcast listener. Topcast, the teaching online podcast that I co-host with my UCF colleague, Dr. Tom Cavanaugh. And if you haven't listened to Topcast and you want to, or you're interested because hey, Jim said good things, you can go to topcast.online.ucf.edu. You can find all the past episodes, all the show notes, related links, little links to the coffee that we're drinking in each episode, and so forth. Yeah, I'm a big podcast listener myself. I haven't counted lately, but I don't actively listen to all that I've subscribed to, but I subscribe to well over 100 and some odd podcasts. And, for me, it's the driving to and from work or errands, that kind of thing. Yeah. In the rare instance where I go outside and do yard work or something, I might be listening to podcasts. Yeah. But I hear all kinds of things from people. Walking the dog is podcast time. Exercise is podcast time.
Yes. Absolutely.
Various other, I just like to sit outside and drink a cup of coffee, podcast time. It varies.
Right.
Shaving is a new one for me. That's a good one. I like that. That's
maybe
awesome.
I should not have shared that.
I think that's great. That's awesome, Jim. That's truly great.
I'll tell you what, I love the work you do. The podcast is, it's really amazing. And I actually sent an email out to my faculty a few weeks ago with a link to Topcast. So, because I really want them to be hearing what you have to offer. And that will engender conversation, at our meetings. And I'm going to just piggyback on the work that you guys are doing because it's so
awesome.
Fantastic.
That's exactly the intent, right? Because I wanted to pick up on, before you go, on this thread that you mentioned a while ago, the potentially isolating experience of being an online education professional, right? Some of us have the luxury of being part of big teams,
right?
Where we've got a lot of people, a lot of colleagues, and then others of us don't. We're a solo enterprise where there's a couple of us and we're wearing a lot of hats. And in either event, we don't always have the time to talk with other folks about the work that we do. And so experiences like this one at OLC Live during OLC Innovate 2018, podcasts related to our field, you at least have ideas coming in and you can potentially type back to somebody and interact, or you can, hey, why don't we have this shared listening experience? Why don't you listen, I listen, we talk about those ideas. That gives us good subject related discourse around our field, and it helps you feel less isolated. Here's somebody who thinks like I do. I can have a cup of coffee with them, and we're having this kind of cup of coffee together.
Right.
That's really good stuff.
Yep.
It's awesome.
All right. Thanks so much. I'll be listening and watching, and I'll give someone else a chance to chat.
Yeah. So let me, while somebody else is thinking about being brave and speaking up, I'll just hit a couple of these URLs again. If you found your way here, good for you. Awesome. In the OLC Live Zoom room provided to us by our friends at Zoom. We appreciate that. And if you lose your connection and are not sure how to get back, I'm going to give you a short URL to the direct link to the Zoom room, which is using the bit.ly URL shortening service, bit.ly, bit.ly/OLC live room, bit.ly/OLC live room, lowercase, no spaces. But you can also get here from the OLC Innovate virtual hub online. And you will find there, if you're a registered virtual participant for OLC Innovate, you'll find the official list of webcast conference sessions that you can link to from there, but you'll also find a link to the Zoom room here. So the official webcast sessions, that's like being a dutiful professional development learner, right, in the conference session. But these OLC live sessions, these are like walking out, getting a cup of coffee and talking to some friends around the water cooler, the coffee pot, or somewhere. They give you a little breathing room, a little space. So periodically we'll have some special guests joining us here that we can all interact with together, or some interviews where you can just listen to them, share some insights from some of their official conference sessions, and you can follow up, have some Q&A. We'll send some folks out into the field. You'll see this beautiful venue where we are here in Nashville, Tennessee, the Opryland Hotel. We'll get to interact with some folks in the hallways, between sessions, during breaks, and so forth. Coming up in about an hour, I believe, is a tour of the Innovation Lab, a key feature of Innovate 2018, where there's all kinds of hands-on opportunities and interactive opportunities. So Dave Goodrich is going to take us out into the field. He'll walk us around the Innovation Lab, and we'll interact with some folks who are hanging out in the Innovation Lab, and you'll have a chance to interact with them as well. A reminder, if you're on here, you're muted by default. If you're at your computer, press the space bar to talk. And if you release the space bar, you'll go back on mute. Don't forget to make sure your audio and video are connected. Periodically, so these sessions are going to be recorded. Periodically, they will be uploaded to the Online Learning Consortium YouTube channel. So in probably about an hour or so delay. So you can find the OLC YouTube channel using this. You can Google it. You guys are information literate. You can find your way to the YouTube channel, I'm sure. But just in case, here's a short URL to get you there. bit.ly/YouTube OLC. YOUTUBE OLC. And you can find those recordings from these sessions, as well as other content from OLC. Okay, I've given you some time to think a little bit. Anybody else want to tell us who you are, where you're from, how you found your way here, and what you think so far? Would love to hear from you. I'm going to go check in on the chat room. You're going to see a little dead space here with the backdrop, and I'll respond there, and more excitement to come. But feel free to speak up and talk amongst yourselves while I'm checking the chat. Any brave souls besides Jim? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Everybody, I'm back. There's a couple of folks who are quietly lurking, and that's fine. We hope that you will be brave and speak up at some point today or over the next couple of days. So looking ahead, a couple of things. We have some guests coming in, our engagement chairs from OLC Innovate coming in at the bottom of the hour. So until then, I think we're going to flip over to our agenda screen. So we'll have a little music going, and you can see what some of the coming sessions are for today. We have sessions scheduled today, tomorrow, and Friday up until midday. We're in the central time zone, so when the times come up on screen, those are central time, so please make the adjustment according to wherever you are physically. At the bottom of the hour, we'll have those engagement chairs. I mentioned earlier we're going to do that tour of the Innovation Lab here on site at OLC Innovate 2018. We're also going to, later in the day, talk to Roland Moe and have a view of his installation here on site at Innovate. And we've got two notables in our field, Eric Fredrickson and Peter Shea, who are going to talk to us about the OLC Leadership Network later on in the day this afternoon. So those are some highlights coming. So the specific times will be coming up on screen momentarily. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that even though we'll have these slides up with the times and all, you should be able to interact with each other during that as well. You can chat, and I think, is this right? They can also talk to each other while that's going on as well. Is that right, Paul? Paul Carmack, anchoring us down, making sure that we actually don't make fools of ourselves here from Zoom. Thank you, Paul. You stick your hand in front of the camera and wave. That's awesome. See, that's great. So we're going to switch over to those slides, and we'll be back at the bottom of the hour with those that discussion with the Innovate engagement chairs. Talk to you soon.